Well, hello and welcome back to Node by Node. This is Victor Perez. I'm super happy that you are here watching this, even if you are watching it not on live, but you are watching the recording of this streaming. Either way, you are very welcome to join me for this hour of just me comping, which is basically what I'm doing. Again, the rules are very simple. I don't know what I'm going to do, so you are not going to know what you are going to see, but I can promise we are going to have fun, and I'm just going to explore. So, this is just a way of practicing, and I'm just practicing and sharing my practice with you, which is at the end of the day what art is all about. So before to start, I would like to thank Foundry for sponsoring this streaming as usual. And yeah, what can I say about them that I haven't said enough? Is they are friends. They are like at the Lego Batman movie. Friends are the family you can choose. So so yeah, I love these guys, and of course you know that I love Nuke. So so yeah, welcome everybody that is in the chat. So you can say hi, hello Omar, for instance. And everybody that is on there, just leave me a comment, shoot out, just say something. I would love to hear from you. Um, just before we start today. So hello Javier, hello Dondi. Before we start today, just to let you know that there are only two more streamings after this before the holiday break, because I just decided I'm going to have a life for at least for this summer, after the project that I am delivering in 4 weeks. So yeah, the last streaming of this season is going to be on the 23rd. I mean, 20 something. I mean, uh, 2 more weeks, just to be clear. So yeah, that is going to be the for the live streaming, but still I'm going to be publishing content. So yeah, yes, please, this is a very good opportunity for me to tell you to, yeah, subscribe. So yeah, that is mostly everything that I have to say. Today I haven't wear my headphones because I just want, it's a bit hot in here, and not in London precisely because summer in London, as they say, is the best weekend of the year. And that weekend passed already. So yeah, but still, I am rendering plenty of stuff in this in my studio here, and yeah, the computers are like heating up everything. So yeah, that is why you can see me. I'm kind of shiny because of the heat. So yeah, I didn't want to put the headphones. I hope you can hear me well. But anyway, I know, because if not, you will have say, hey, I cannot hear, but I can see graphically is working. So yeah, I think during the summer maybe I'm just going to publish, because people have been messaging me, mostly on LinkedIn. And by the way, if you want to know my social media, I'm just going to put it in the chat, so you can just reach out and tell me, or you can just put your comments in here publicly if you like. But many people have been asking me about hardware that I use, and about software that I use, not just Nuke, of course, that is the software of choice for compositing, but also other pieces of softwares that I'm using for reviewing, for instance, like, I don't know, F-Track or CineSync or Looper, what kind of screens I'm using. So it depends, for the kind of task. I have like two different setups these days. The one that I prefer these days is quite neat, and I will publish about that. And I'm having an ISO monitor, a Color Edge, and also a Wacom Cintiq Pro 27. um and yeah, and maybe what I'm going to do, I'm going to record about my setup and things that are not directly related to compositing, because I can show you other things. But still, I would like to preserve this space. So this is going to reprise, my streaming is going to reprise on the third week of September. Okay, so I'm just going to have a month and a half roughly off of the live streaming. um and then I'm going to be like publishing regularly, if I can, a few videos about my hardware, my software. And something that I can announce here in my own channel is that I'm producing a feature documentary about the making of the visual effects of the film that I am supervising for Academy Award director Gabriele Salvatore in Italy. He's a good friend of mine. And it's a film that is coming together really, really cool. The story, the story of the film itself is really, really cool, because it's an incomplete script by Federico Fellini, and it was written in the, I think it was in the late 40s. It got lost, it just gone lost, and nobody hear about that. And one day that reappeared. The director got the rights to that treatment. It's not a treatment, because it's way more advanced than a treatment. And he completed the film. So it's a film by Federico Fellini, like many years after he passed away. He's like a legend of cinema. So I have been honored just to be able to put my hands in there, and also to see the notes from the maestro, to all the annotations. And I'm trying to recreate parts of his vision, and also of course respecting the vision of the director, of Gabriele Salvatores. But it's really cool. It's a very, very special film. I decided a few weeks ago that, it's not just about just the visual effects in itself. It's just the everything that has come together in order to make the project, in terms of visuals, what it is. So I'm going to put in there many, many things. I don't want to spoil. It's going to be released together with the film. um and yeah, I will let you know more details about that. But it's really, really cool. It's the first time that I'm producing a feature documentary. I'm not directing, just to be clear. I'm just producing. So I'm just making sure the documentary is going to represent, and it's a feature, so it's going to be something like an hour and a half. And yeah, it's going to be released publicly, and maybe I'm going to organize for screenings, of course, here in London, in other places, if you guys want to see, and we can find a way of, I will be more than happy to screen that in the place. Of course, in Rome is going to be screened. It's going to be screened also in Milan, because the main release, of course, of the film is going to be in Italy, even if it's going to be released worldwide. um and yeah, I'm going to keep you posted about that. So, as I said in the previous streamings, and this is going to be the trend until the end of the streaming. I mean, until the end of the season of this streaming. I would like to take your petitions about what would you like to see next in the shot that I am compositing these days for the streaming. So let's have a look at the. Here you are, the shot. I don't know, but this week I have the feeling that the last streaming I did was like super long ago, like ages ago, and it was actually like in any other last week. So actually, I don't know why I have that feeling, but yeah, it's like a long time. And here you are. I remember now the rabbit to catch the reflections and all of that, which is quite cool. By the way, so as I said, I would like you to drive this session, just to tell me what would you like to see, and maybe for the next season, so for September onwards, maybe we can do other things. Maybe you can send me, I don't know. Let's explore. For me, the most important part is like I need to be comping, but what to comp? I I honestly don't mind. So it's just a way of practicing. Again, everything is about practice. So um, these kind of projects for me is really important. Having personal projects and having these focus on other things that is not work is really important, because when you are doing these kind of projects, you have the time and the space for you to experiment, to try things, to not to be afraid, and just to create. Because the problem that we have when we are working is like sometimes we have so much pressure that we don't allow ourselves just to make mistakes, and that is just removing the fun of the work. Because at the end of the day, the most important thing is just to try ways that you never explored before. Because if you do constantly the same exact thing, it's kind of boring. So it's like improving and just giving yourself enough room for mistakes and for trying new things. And I get it, it's like, yeah, you need time for that, and in production not always you have the time. But I think this kind of practice is really good. And also, of course, it depends on the kind of productions, but there are productions that are going to allow you more time just to nail things in the right way, and there are other times that no, you just need to get things done, and that's it. So yeah, well, welcome everybody. That I see you guys are interacting in the chat. So as I said, what would you like to see next on this shot? So just let me know. I'm just going to be putting a bit of order in here just to understand what's going on. Oh yeah, this is the mm, and this is the other. Maya with the why is doing. I don't remember why this is looking bright. Again, um, I'm not joking. I seriously don't remember what I was doing last time. So I just want to make sure I have everything in here. So it's just like adding more spice to the mix. So in here I have this is dark. Let me see. This is bright. And in here, mhm. So someone is asking me, are these projects available for download slash practice? I can give you the script. I have no problem on giving you the script. I cannot give you the image. It's because the image has been purchased on Adobe Stock. But what I can give you is well, in the script, you are going to see the name of the image. In here you have it, so you can search for the image and you can purchase the image by yourself, so you can get the thing. But I cannot get you the, I mean, it's just a legal limitation. I cannot share that image. But yeah, I wouldn't mind to give you the project for just for opening or stuff. It's just like I I think it's more interesting to see the process than to reopen it and copy the scripts or whatever. But yeah, if you feel like it can help you, why not? I don't mind. It's just a bunch of notes in there. So absolutely yes. So I'm just going to try to understand why this is going darker. Mm-mm-mm. So no, I'm not in indie anymore. I am in Nuke X, as you can see here. So yeah, no, I'm not in Nuke Indie, Julian. I am in Nuke X. By the way, I started the streaming using Nuke Indie, but still today nobody has ever told me what are those limitations that are so terrible that make Nuke Indie so useless, as I hear people saying. I get that nobody wants limitations. Okay, me, the first one, of course, that is why I'm using Nuke X. But the thing is, like, to be reasonable for the price, I think it's just fair that Nuke Indie has for the regular users working at home. You have no limitations. Yeah, I know that the sharing of the scripts, blah blah blah, blah, but if you are working as a freelance, which is the purpose of that, Nuke Indie is just perfect. And if you are working in a company, and then it makes sense to go with Nuke X, or even without the EX. You can go with Nuke, regular Nuke. It depends on what you are doing. And of course, I love Nuke X. This is what I'm using, and I actually use Nuke Studio, which is really good for supervisors if you want to check sequences and deployment and consolidating projects and all of that. It's really really cool, but not everybody needs that. So I'm not going to say it's better, it's worse. It's just different for different kind of needs. So yeah. So Julien said that I'm on Nuke Commercial, Nuke X, so I cannot open files from Nuke Indie. So yeah, well, no worries, except the very first project. Everything else is in Nuke X. So yeah, I was using Nuke X on the first project just for that, just to understand the limitations, because honestly, I never used Nuke Indie before. And I decided to give it a try just to understand why people was bothered. But what I was feeling is like there is a lot of whistle and hustle about the limitations. I don't feel the limitations at all. But again, this is my point of view. It doesn't mean that it has no limitations. Of course, it has. But I would like you to comment, you to tell me what are the limitations that you find that are terrible, because maybe uh, we can talk to Foundry. We can, I don't know, is the market is made for the users. If you don't raise your voice, nobody will hear you. But we need to raise your voice with reason, not just like I don't like that, so trolling. Like, yeah, this is bad. So we need to create a healthy conversation in there. For instance, would be better to have a higher resolution? I think so. Maybe 4K is, if you're using a black magic, for instance, a black magic camera that can shot in 6K, it will make sense that you can use that footage of 6K to be processed. So maybe, and I would claim, like, yeah, the 4K limitation, even for most projects, is not going to be a problem, but Blackmagic has a strategy to work with indie producers, indie DPs, because they produce cameras that are really, really cool and a very low price, honestly. So it's very cost efficient. So if you want to use the full potential of that camera with Nuke, you have limitations. That is a limitation. So yeah, I would say like increasing the resolution would be a nice thing to ask Foundry. So yeah, I'm just going to put that, and I'm going to say, hey, is this possible? The market is evolving, and maybe, but that is something that we need to create as as a community in a healthy way, trying to understand the others instead of, because I hear so many people trolling and just complaining in a very aggressive way. And I know, I get it. We are in very difficult times. Okay. So it's difficult to keep calm these days, but we need to understand that everybody that is in any position here in the visual effects industry, at the end of people by people, is everybody's is we are on the same boat. So everybody's just trying to keep their jobs, to do their best, and to serve the community the best as possible. So yeah, we need to try to be more compassionate when we are talking to others, especially when we are talking to artists or when we are talking to people that is trying to make the software. That is why sometimes I like to go to the office of Foundry and to meet the people that is working on Nuke. Um, it's very nice people. It's just like you and me. It's just people that is working just to make something better, so you can express better as an artist. So that is what I mean. But yeah, definitely the question of the resolution, that is something that I'm going to bring up to Foundry in the next meeting that we have sometimes about the orientation and opinions and all of that. So yeah. So let me see the comments. Dondi said that I used Nuke Indie and all I had a problem with was the 4K limited output so far. Yeah, what I was saying. I had a project that I had to turn down because client wanted a 6K output. The question is, usually, because this is another thing. Usually we make choices. Let me just get the camera. Usually we make choices of resolution based on budget. So post-producing a film in 6K requires a lot of money because already in 4K there is a lot of pixels in there. So it's kind of expensive, and honestly, projection in 6K it's quite unlikely these days. Of course, in the future, things are going to change, but these days, the standard for every platform is going to be 4K. Of course, you can do a higher master, so it's going to be more future proof. But the question is, if you want better specs, you should have a better budget. So if you had a better budget, pay your artists better, because 6K is forcing your artists to have a certain kind of software or a hardware, because it's not even the software. To play back 6K or working on 6K in compositing, that is hard. In levels of hardware, that is hard. And I'm not even going to mention the question of the renders, the CGI renders from 3D. That is going to be massive. So if they are just considering that 6K is the same budget at 2K, well, maybe that is a client you don't want. Of course, right now is we are in a position that cannot be so picky with the clients, but maybe the problem is not the software in itself. Maybe the problem is the budget, because is yeah, I I wouldn't trust for a 6K project with plenty of shots just a singular artist in there. So those are different. I mean, it's a different approach, a different point of view. Of course, there are so many reasons that why that that project in particular was shot in that resolution and all of that. But it's just from my guts. I'm just saying that, like, sometimes just like the indie producers, indie directors are just going like, yeah, 6K because I have a Black Magic that cost me, I don't know how the price of Black Magic this day, but it's going to be something like 3 grand or something like that. And yeah, because I have 3 grand, so yeah, it's going to be a cheap post production. No way. That is no way. Of course, Da Vinci, that is free, is going to be amazing. You can do, but yeah, cinema is more than a camera. I'm not even going to mention lenses, because you can have like very cheap cameras, and yeah, you can get away with that. But cheap lenses, no way. I believe there is more quality in the lenses than in the sensor in itself. And I know what I'm saying. The sensor is really, really important, but the lenses are not less important than that. But that is my humble opinion. So so yeah, people in the chat is saying that they are using Nuke Studio, Julien, for instance. Yeah, for the price is good. About Nuke Indie. Yeah, I think so. Uh, and yeah, as Hugo says, he always used to say, be software agnostic. I completely agree. A compositor is a compositor regardless of the software they're using. That is for sure. But of course, even a driver of Formula One is a driver regardless of the car. But if you can choose Ferrari, choose Ferrari. You know what I mean? It's just like a no-brainer. And I love Ferrari, of course. It's not the one. I mean, it's not the only one. There are others. It's just Ferrari is the best. But yeah, it's like if you can choose, what is your choice? For me, it's Nuke, for instance. But I started with Photoshop, and I love Photoshop, and of course, for different purposes. Okay, and I love that. And I have been using Shake before that. I never use After Effects, just to be clear. So I cannot even criticize After Effects because it's not like I have no idea. I try Resolve just to in order to understand, and I quit. It's just so different. Even if it's just another thing, and maybe I'm not, and I just don't need it. So maybe it's that. But at the end of the day, use what you can. That is the most important thing. Is like use what you can afford. But if you want to enter in the industry, you should look at what everybody's using, because if they are going to choose you by your skill, is your skill in relation with what they have. Because if they are going to give you a Nuke, if you are doing compositing these days, everybody in everywhere is going to be using Nuke, and that is like the golden standard. So if you are learning with other software, sooner or later you are going to change to Nuke if you want to be a compositor in a regular pipeline. So this is what I mean. So yeah, I completely agree. Compositing is agnostic of Nuke. So you can know Nuke and don't understand well compositing, and I see many examples of that. But the best thing is you know compositing very well, because then you can jump from Nuke to any other software. Okay. So yeah, very. I mean, I love Hugo. So I completely agree with him, and I share that. So Jose is asking, do you have any advice for a better negotiation with clients that have zero experience in 3D animation or VFX? Yeah, pray pray and is the only thing that I can ask, that I can tell you. Well, no, seriously, let's be serious about that. When they have no experience whatsoever, if they are calling you, there is already a first step. If they are calling you, it's because they need you. Now, the thing is like, of course, if they don't know what you are doing, is going to be very expensive. Why? Because they don't know. It's like if I tell you, we were talking about Ferrari before. Why a Ferrari is so expensive? Why a Rolls Royce is so expensive? It's just a car. But the way they are doing the car, the way the engineer that is coming before you get the car is a different thing. It's not like any regular car. So you need to understand the craft. So you need to educate them. Of course, they don't want to be educated. They don't. So the thing is like, in regular conditions, I will say, if they don't understand what you do, but they have the budget, it's fine. They will understand. Not all clients are the same. I cannot generalize. I cannot say, oh, if they don't understand, they are going to. Of course, there is a tendency that is normal, and you have it as well. If you want to buy something, you want the best price, regardless. That's why you go to the supermarket and you select from the products the one that you prefer. So we are more or less like a product in the supermarket. There are products that are better, there are products that are cheap. Sometimes cheap is also good. Sometimes expensive is not good. So it depends. You need to understand. It's like selecting wine. So not the most expensive is going to be better. But people that don't understand usually go to the expensive and try to get it cheaper. So you can negotiate on that. So the thing is like you need to have philosophical and political view on your self-respect as an artist that is going to be limited by your needs. Because, for instance, right now, it's going to be really difficult to maintain a certain code of strict, not taking clients because you don't agree with them, because it's going to be really difficult to work. But the thing is like something that I will recommend is like you need to explain and manage the expectations of your client. What I mean is like if you are quoting, for instance, because that will be something healthy, you have to quote and you have to be very specific with the quote. You have to express not the cost of the items, because at the end, the items are what you produce, but you are a machine that is producing the items. So what is the cost of the use of the machine? So you have to break down that. So you have to manage the expectations with your fees. And your fees, you can say explicitly or not, like for instance, the cost of facilities, you know, the rent of the place that you are using, the cost of the internet, the electricity, the utility bills of the place that you are using, the portion of the use of the hardware, the software. So all of that is called facilities. So you have a cost. I mean, every day when you wake up, you are paying money because whatever you have, it costs money. Then you have personal allowance to spend. You need to eat. You need to, and all of that is part of the expenses. And then you have to add to that the cost of your work, your art. Because for me, I can work one day, but me working one day is like for I can produce in one day like 20 junior compositors. Okay, yeah, maybe I can produce as 20 junior compositors. But on top of that, I can produce things that 20 junior compositors cannot. The example to this is like um, if you have 100 students of primary school, 100 students of primary school are not going to solve a mathematical problem from the last year of university in maths, for instance. So you need one experienced student of the university to solve that problem instead of having 100 children just trying to solve the problem. So there are things that are useful to have more people, and there are things that are useful to have more skill for that. So you have to understand your value in the market. And that is something that is coming because, of course, in one day I can produce, I am really skilled and fast doing certain things, but because, of course, I'm practicing a lot. So the people that hire me are hiring me not just for that day, but for everything that I'm doing in order to produce in that day what I am producing. So that is your cost in relation to the market. So then it depends. Then your brand, because Ferrari also costs what it costs because it's Ferrari. So it's also a guarantee. If you are getting a Ferrari, you have a guarantee, whatever. You can understand of mechanics or not, but you know that it's going to be good. And that's it. Maybe it's going to be the best or one of the best at least. So you know that you are in a certain tier. So all of this is coming together when you need to quote. So try to be specific, and when you need, you can even create a page just to explain that. So key facts and things so they understand what they are hiring. And the cost of the software, you can break down the cost of the software, the cost of facilities, you can do whatever you want. But the important thing is to manage expectations. That is the key with clients. Because if they expect that you are going to be like super, super, super expensive, and actually you are not that super, super expensive, you are just expensive, it's a different thing. But also they need to understand that it takes time also. So is in order to be on the same page. Just try to be clear, manage the expectations, and then the rest is going to be up to the client. So you cannot think for the client. You need to offer then what you can do, and then they are going to decide, and just be understanding that maybe you are not the best option. So that is the thing. Instead of forcing you to get the job and then damaging the whole industry, because the problem is when we are entering in an underbidding war, which is like this guy is doing this for 10 and this other guy is doing this for 8. Oh, and this other guy is doing that for 6. So everybody is lowering the fee just in order to get the job, up to a point that everybody's losing. So the one that is being awarded with the project is going to lose, and everybody's losing in there. The others that are not getting the job, and the one doing the job is going to cost money on that. So it's a bad experience. That's why I believe having a union that is going to regularize everything, that is going to set a standard, and just to create a healthy way, just to be arranged with the studios, with the clients, with the so everybody is going to be in a certain parameter. That is something very healthy, because right now this is the wild west. It's like everybody is charging a different fee, everybody is just doing a different thing. So the free market sometimes is damaging, because you know there are people that are just doing unfair deals, and usually the clients are getting unfair results, and then at the end everybody is unhappy, and at the end what is suffering is the industry of visual effects, because then the clients are going to be visual effects ruin movies. They are very expensive and they are not good. And it's not true. I don't know you, but I don't create bad visual effects. I create good visual effects because I'm a good artist. But the problem is, what are the resources that are available? How is this handled? So it's a system, it's a way complicated system. But you can play your part on this. So we are on this all together. There is a community in here. This is not just me talking to you, or this is just we are all together. If I do something that is wrong for the industry, you are going to suffer that. So I should be shut out about that. Same thing with the others. So yeah, many people is complaining. I was talking a few weeks ago about someone that was complaining like the industry of visual effects is very sick. There are things that are very wrong, and I agree. We are not perfect, but what are you doing to make it better? That is the thing. So we can either sit, cry, and complain, or someone is just going to rise and say, okay, I'm going to start. I'm going to inspire the revolution that I want to be part of, because that is the real deal. It's like, you are not happy with what is happening now? Okay, raise your voice, say it, but do it in a compassionate way, and do it in a way that is just going to make sense for the rest of the world. Not just like say, oh, I want Nuke for free. Yeah, and I want a Ferrari for free. So that is not realistic. But maybe you can say, can we make more Ferraris at a lower cost so more people can buy the Ferrari? So then the prices are, and you know what? It's not going to be a Ferrari anymore. So it's going to be something else. So changing the world requires understanding, and understanding requires listening to others, and listening without prejudice, like the album of George Michael. Yeah, it's listening without prejudice. It's listening, trying to understand, instead of listening to answer question. It's just let's sit together, let's understand what's going on. And right now that we are in a moment of imbalance, deep imbalance, and very drastic, maybe this is a good time to start reflecting of how we got here, how the hell this is happening. So can we prevent this from happening in the future? And look what is happening is like two collectives of the cinema decide to stop. The whole world stopped, and we are suffering the consequences. You know what? The movies that are making the highest grossing box office hits in the past, I don't know, 30 years, all of them have something in common: visual effects, and heavy visual effects. So imagine what happened if the collective of visual effects just say, no, we are just going to defend every single individual of the collective. So we trade no casualties, as Captain America says. Is like, yeah, we are not we are going to stand for each other instead of just I'm going to do it cheaper than you. So that is not helping anybody. Of course, there is a range because, of course, not everybody can compete with me in terms of my years of experience, my skills, and all that. But maybe the project is not required for this level. I mean, it's like taking your children to school with a Ferrari. You don't need a Ferrari to take your children to school. Maybe you just need a small compact car. So this is what I mean. It's like each of us have their place in the world and their place in the industry. And I believe the world is full of projects and beautiful projects, and there is a space for everyone. And right now, maybe it's going to be difficult to see this because we are in a moment of scarcity. But next year, this is going to be crazy with the whole amount of projects that are going to be produced because this year has been not that big. Previous year was a complete disaster, but you know, the streaming services are still streaming, cinemas are open, and people want to more entertaining. So yeah, it's gonna happen. And even if it's going to shift right now from one place to another, because I know that in London next year the tax credits are going to rise, it's going to be a new scheme. So it's going to be very strong, the amount of work that is going to be in the UK. But we need to take care for the people that is not in the UK. We need to take care of the people all around the world because we are in a, I mean, we are in a global world. So whatever happens anywhere is affecting all of us because it can happen. Look at what is happening in Canada. It's very sad. I have many friends in there that are suffering a lot because of what's going on, and many people losing their job, studios closing down. That is not helping anybody. And that is very sad because it can happen to you, it can happen to me. So that is a reason just to unite, just to take care of each other, because at the end of the day, that is what matters. Is like try not to be alone because it can happen to any of us. Okay? So yeah, I just went in a big in a big war turn by your question, but I really believe these words were necessary to be said right now. um so the advice for negotiation is just manage your client expectations. That's it. That is all you can do. You cannot convince them because it's not a good idea. Let them to go with you because you propose what you have, and they believe you are the most suitable uh, person for doing that. That is if you are working client side. I mean, to the client directly. So that is my advice. But maybe they are again. I am at a point in my life where there are clients that I'm not going to waste my time because they are just going to waste my time. Even the money is like there are things that money cannot buy, and your peace I don't know yours, but mine is so expensive that I cannot afford it to have like people that is not going to maintain my peace or something like that. So yeah, respect yourself. That is all I can say. If you respect yourself, clients are going to respect you. If you disrespect yourself, you are teaching them that they can disrespect you. That's simple. So, more questions today. I think that I'm taking questions. Okay. So, do you think indie movies are the future for the industry? Well, that is a big, big question. Um, I think indie movies are not the future, are cinema. There are so many indie movies already being produced, and most of them are just passing below the radar just because we are not paying attention. But there are so many good movies. I remember when I was young last week. So when I was young, I was going to the cinema, I was going to the movies, and that's it. I was not going to watch a particular film. I was going to the movies, and then I just entered to whatever it is in there. Um, I discovered so many good films. When you have no expectations for the movies, you are just going there just because you want to be told a story. You just want to go on a journey. You want the director just to take you and to show the world in a vision that you never saw before. So new movies, independent movies have been there all the time and they are great. You know, all the directors that you love, they have been in the movies. Chris Nolan, for instance, and I believe, well, it's difficult because he has done so many good movies, but if you haven't watched Memento, do yourself a favor and watch that film. It's, it's not the first because he did something like before, something like a feature. It was like a short feature that is following. But Memento was like the first more, more structure feature thing he did. And for me, it's a masterpiece. It's a real, I mean, not for me, it's like for many people. It's a masterpiece. You can see in there all the elements, the time. They use many elements that he's reprising now. For instance, they use black and white together with the color, the structure of the time in the storytelling, the story that is not linear. All the themes that he loves are all in there. So that movie was not like a movie, a blockbuster. So everybody was starting like that. Even George Lucas or even Martin Scorsese or all the directors that you love. Most of them started doing this kind of movies, or even Coppola started self-producing, and so the thing is like go to a small cinema or to cinematheque or and watch movies. Don't watch just the usual suspects, the sequels, prequels, spin-offs. I'm a bit sick of that, even if some of them are really, really good, just to be clear. And of course, for work for us, it's amazing. But there is so much cinema that you are missing, and there are cinema that there are directors that they are not using visual effects because they cannot afford them, but still they are producing amazing movies without visual effects. And Yorgos Lantimos, for instance, the guy that the director of Poor Things, he was doing amazing movies for many, many, many years. And now, of course, he's noticed after he has been doing a trend of amazing movie because he was noticed. But be a pioneer. Be a pioneer and watch the movies and just be able to develop your self-critic idea, just to say, to point and say, hey, I like this director. I think this guy is going to get far. And there are so many. The paradox is like we live maybe in the era of more content being available to the public than ever before. And still, we sit on the TV and we say, there is nothing to watch. And we have literally thousands of films to watch. So I will say, like, the best thing you can do is go for the classics. Um, I mean, it's just so easy and too obvious, but have you watched Citizen Kane? Have you watched Apocalypse Now? Citizen Kane, that guy, Orson Welles was 23 when he did History of Cinema. It's everything in there. And those films that maybe you have the idea like because it's old, it's boring. No, it's because the code, the social context that you are living is slightly different. But if you have like a try to read a bit of introduction, try to get a dictionary of cinema, and you are going to get to understand how to watch those movies. I was very lucky because I study history of cinema when I was learning cinematography at the university. Um, and I was very lucky. I was with a film critic. He was, I mean, he's really amazing. I mean, he was an old man, and he was like, I'm not, and he was like, he watched everything, and he has something to say about everything. That is lovely. I fell in love with cinema, the Nouvelle Vague in France, the modernism. I mean, everything cinema is so rich. That is why we are doing movies, but don't forget to enjoy. That is the most important part of all of this. Is just to enjoy. That's why we are here. So yeah, indie movies are the future, the past, and the present of cinema. And then there are blockbusters, but those are, you know what you are going to watch. And it's like, sometimes it's okay, sometimes don't be. If you are going to watch Transformers, for goodness sake, it's like, don't expect a drama. Don't you go to see cars transforming into robots, shooting and exploding, and it's cool, but it's just that. But there is a world about there about human beings. So yeah. Christian is asking, do you have any recommendations for cameras and lenses? I will say, if you want to start, the ones you have, those are great. If you want to get something, try to get the best you can afford. Second hand, why not? Second hand. If you want to photograph, just get a proper camera. There are so many. I cannot just endorse any brand in particular, but just any camera that has a good full size sensor, and just decent lenses. If you ask me about what I would use if I could, I would say Cook lenses. I really love Cook lenses. They have a series now for photography and they are cost effective. And I will say, like, in cameras, if you ask me about cameras, I will say Arri, but nobody is going to buy an Arri. And if you are thinking about that, don't do it. Cameras are meant to be, at that level, are meant to be rent. Don't buy it will make no sense. But lenses are forever. If the lenses are good, are going to be forever. So Cook lenses, for instance, if you want to invest in the lenses, and those are going to be one point to invest, lenses and lights. That is something I will say, like, yeah, lenses for photography. The Canon, the L series of Canon are really really good. For cinema, I will say prime lenses, like, yeah, Cook lenses are really 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 good. Even the series that they have, the small ones, the mini primes, are super super cool. For cameras, if this photo is a big responsibility, but I will say the 5D from Canon is one, and from Nikon, it depends on what is the school. I started with Nikon. Now I'm using Canon, but it's, I will say, whatever you have, that is good, because if you want to learn and to start, just try to use whatever is available, and even the phone. If you want to, there are things, of course, you have limitations, but try to use whatever is like. My best advice is, like, use manual. That is when you are going to learn, because you are forced to learn. If you are not using manual, yeah, it's going to be different. So that is my advice. um And yeah, someone is saying very hard to do projections in Fusion. Mm, I don't know. I simply have no idea how to do projections in Fusion. I don't use Fusion at all, even if it's free. I don't discourage people to use Fusion, of course, but again, I use the industry standard, and I now it's so natural to use Nuke for me that no, I don't see myself using another one. So so yeah. Um, um, so yeah, I think today I have been a very interesting, a very interesting session. You have been asking me questions and about the industry, about dealing with clients, about lenses or cameras. But the question that Christian asked me about the cameras, this is actually a very good thing because you have no idea how important is photography for a compositor. It's way more important than computer graphics, way more important than editing or anything else. Compositing is photography. It's 100% photography. It's just assembling photography without a camera, but it's photography 100%. If you don't understand how a camera works, it's going to be quite unlikely that you are going to become a good compositor. All the best compositors in the world have experience with photography. You don't need to be an illustrator. You don't need, because illustrators, for instance, or people that is drawing or painting, they just understand light. So that's why you are able to shade things. And but for us, that is, when we are reproducing the world, we are not reproducing the world through our eyes. We are reproducing the world through the eyes of the lenses. So you need to understand lenses, and you need to understand sensors and cameras. There are so many things. Um, I have a project right now, and with this, I'm going to finish the streaming today. But I have a project that maybe I'm going to announce in later this year about photography for compositors. And I just understood that there is so much need about that in a very, very deep level. So as I did for color management with the book, maybe I have something about photography that I'm not going to say much right now. But yeah, and I am collaborating in order to make a book that is going to be truly significant. And as someone said it here, software agnostic is not going to be about using software. It's not even going to be about notes it's just going to be to understand an image and understand how light is going to behave. And it's something that is going to be quite fun for me. So stay tuned that I'm going to publish that. So this week I have been more like discussing things. I'm happy because if you are asking me, it's because there is a need for that. I can put more notes. We have two sessions led for this season, remember? Um, if you have any questions or any comments or anything, just post it here in this video or anywhere you like. I'm not going to torture your souls telling you already things that you know, that you can contact me for one-on-one sessions or for the Master of Light or whatever you want. You know it's there. But what I will say is, like, if you want me to do something in particular for the next two sessions, just go ahead. Let me know, because I can be putting notes in here. I will love to put elements, for instance. That was my thought when I was getting in here, just in order to understand the scale and things, semi-transparencies, how to create that. But at the end, maybe if you propose me something that I truly have no idea, it's going to be more stimulating for me, because I'm going to try to figure out. If I'm doing whatever I know, yeah, it's going to be a repetition with iterations that, of course, I'm going to learn from that. But my purpose in here is just to stretch. I'm not afraid to fail. That is actually a bless that I have. It's like maybe I will fail because by failing, I'm going to understand how things work. Nobody cares about how the engine of your car works until it breaks. So it's the same thing. It's like I'm an artist. I am proud of being a human being that makes mistakes. So no problem at all. I'm going to try to understand what I can do better with everything of what I have in here. So yeah, post in the comments suggestions or anything. Even if you want to know about my software or my hardware, or you want me to discuss something in particular, these days I'm trying many things. So yeah, whatever. I will be more than happy to talk about that. Okay, and maybe for the next season, just to give you an advance, I'm going to use shots from the project that I am supervising these days, and I'm going to break down and I'm going to show you the scripts of those projects so you can see how I comp in real world case scenarios. So you are going to see a few shots that I did, or maybe I can open from other artists and just work on there just to showcase how I provide the direction and all of that. And that is going to happen in the next season. So by after after the film is released later this year. And yeah, and at the end of the day, it's just about having fun. So that is something that I can promise. So until the next session that I promise I will be using notes the next time. Until then, I would like to I would like to wish you an amazing week. Yeah, thank you once again for being here, for listening, for questioning, for everything. Yeah, that's all for this week. So until then, this has been Victor Perez for Note by Note, and don't forget to eat your veggies. Take care, guys. See you soon.